Hey, everybody, what's going on? We're about to start recording. This will be cut out, this little first part. I just want to make sure that I don't start the intro and think it cuts off. So, how's everyone doing?
Is anybody actually in
Anyone in
here?
live chat? I've got a live chat
Is
thing here
anybody
on the
here?
side. Um, oh, damn it, right. I forgot. I Yeah, I think we've got 4 people.
Where? How do you
Hold on.
see?
Uh,
We don't know
there's a,
how this works.
I know how it works. I just don't know if your setup looks like mine. When you go to the top of Google Hangouts,
hmm
um,
Mine has like a
there should be
sidebar. So it's
a
chat,
sidebar.
screen
Yeah,
share, showcase, Q&A, control room, and then dot, dot, dot.
the chat that'll bring the chat that the listeners can do. We've
The
got a
what?
group chat on the side. Chat.
Right, I see group chat. I click that, and then it doesn't actually show me who's available to talk to.
I'm trying to tell her how she hits chat to see what the listeners are saying.
No, she has to go to the actual page that it's broadcasting on YouTube.
Okay.
Share the link with everybody else to join you.
Okay.
Then go into the chat, click, hover over the little
Oh.
and it'll pop out.
Okay, Maggie, you need to click the link that was on our page.
Okay, wait, where do I click?
Okay.
Sorry.
The regular link that I posted, not that I gave you, that I gave the listeners. It's on our
Okay.
Facebook page.
Okay.
Click on that, and there's a thing on there that's like a pop-out chat.
Okie dokie. Oh yeah, it's on YouTube. Look at that.
Yeah, we're fancy.
Ooh, well, I don't know about that.
Make sure you don't leave that window open after you start the pop-up chat, though, because there will be an echo.
Yeah. Why won't it take me there?
I want to go to there.
I do want to go to there. Let me go to
Although
there.
I don't see anyone chatting, so maybe we don't have anyone right now. Oh no, it says we have 2 viewers.
This just says dot dot dot. Piece of fucking shit. God damn it. I need a
Here.
bigger.
What are you looking?
Let me go to my page where I share.
Here. I'll link it. I'll send it to you. Message.
I just don't understand why it won't let me click on it on my computer, because that's fucking stupid.
This is riveting radio.
I know.
By the way.
Well, hi everybody. Sorry.
Okay. Hey, Trevor's here.
Hey, Trevor.
Hey, Trevor. And Krista also. Okay, you do that, and then there's a thing where you can do pop-out chat.
Okay, so I have stopped the thing.
Okay, go up. It says live chat up in the right-hand corner.
No, I saw it. I closed it so I wouldn't get the echo.
Okay, so you've got the chat?
Yeah, but it's not showing me anything. It's fine. It's whatever. I guess I don't get to talk to anybody. Because I can't have the. Can I have the? Do you have them both open, but one of them's just muted? Is that how you're doing it?
No, click on the where there's a dot 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 and click pop out chat.
Oh,
that makes it a little separate
okay.
window, and then you X out of the YouTube. That YouTube.
I need to be able to add. It doesn't say anything. It just says there's nothing there. It says add apps or recent apps.
After you click pop out chat?
Well, I just went to chat. There's like a separate chat thing up at the top, and that's open already. And then down at dot dot dot, there's nothing there. If I hover over dot dot dot, it says recent apps. No recent apps.
Click on it.
All right, and it says no recent apps. So I don't know if that's something that Natasha added. Hangout extension, Hangout toolbox.
Bear with us, everybody.
It's Trevor and Krista. They'll live.
They're our only listeners. They like us.
Okay, I'm trying this. This is Hangout toolbox. And in Hangout toolbox, I can do nothing of any use. Well, it's worth a shot.
Well, if you want to just like put our chat window over that chat window to kind of block it out and just mute it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking I'm going to do. So I'm going to open up YouTube again.
Maggie to go to her messages on Facebook.
What?
Tell Maggie to go to her messages on Facebook.
Go to your messages on Facebook. So is what Natasha's saying.
Trevor, do you feel used? No, it's cool. I got it. I can just do it that way. That'll work if it lets me scroll over there.
I just hope it doesn't like. I don't know. How good is your internet?
My internet's, I think, pretty good.
I sent her a screenshot of how to do it.
Natasha says she sent you a screenshot of how to do it. When she clicks on it, it just says that she needs to download, like, that she doesn't have any apps.
Yeah, that's because she's not using the link that you gave everybody.
I did.
She's in Hangouts trying to access the chat. She should be on YouTube trying to access the chat.
That's what she's doing, sweetie.
But, like,
okay. I'm gonna look at Natasha's thing.
Screenshot.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. No, I see what she's saying now. Okay, wait. So I'm on YouTube.
How are you guys?
I got it.
How are you guys in the chat doing? Did you guys see Spider-Man? I like how I'm saying that to two people, one of whom I know has seen Spider-Man. I'm pretty sure Chris has seen Spider-Man. Maybe not.
Okay. I've got it. Thank you, Natasha.
Because she's got it, and then she thanks you for all that you do.
Well,
she says you're great.
I did not say that, but I do think that, so it works.
She says she takes it back.
No, come on, Owen. Come on.
And that you're not great. Have you seen that Family Guy episode where?
I probably have, but I've probably forgotten it because I've seen 11 million.
Stewie's got Brian at gunpoint, and he tells him to tell Joe that he's cool, and Joe like really appreciates it, and then he says, "Tell him he sucks. Tell him that you take it back." And he's like, "What? No, I don't want to do that." And he's got the gun on him. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, okay. Chris has seen Spider-Man. That's great. Okay, this is the part where I actually start the show. It's very professional.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to What's Going with Owen and Maggie. I am Owen.
And I'm Maggie, and I'm going to say you should probably stop and start over again because your mouth is not matching up on the screen with the sounds coming through the speaker. And I'm concerned that it means the audio is not going to match up.
So I don't know what I should do. Okay. I don't know how to use this thing.
Okay, wait. It's better now. It seems to be working now, and it wasn't working before.
I don't think it should matter. Like, I think it's just a video delay.
All right,
I don't think it's an audio thing that matters.
Okay. Start over. My bad.
Okay. Never mind. It's fine. She was worried that my voice wasn't syncing up with my video, but I don't think that should matter.
Oh yeah, if she still has the YouTube page open, she should close that after she pops out the chat.
She's not listening to it on YouTube.
Okay.
No, but I closed the other window. It's just the pop-up chat now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello and welcome to What's Going with Owen and Maggie. I am Owen.
And I'm Maggie.
And we are on hiatus. Just in case you only listen to this on iTunes, which I can't imagine that anyone does that, but in case you do.
Does that count if I listen to our podcast myself on YouTube?
I'm pretty sure you and I are the only ones who listen to our podcasts as podcasts. I shouldn't say that. I'm a very negative person. Anyway, we are on hiatus, and the reason for that is I am currently trying to catch up on the shows that I do with Natasha. You may be wondering why we started new X-Men coverage, a part one of which, Jesus, I cannot talk today.
It's a great day to do a podcast then.
Yeah.
Days when
I never announced I never announced on the iTunes feed regular show that we were going to be going on hiatus, and the reason for that is there is a lost episode that I do not know how to fix. We finished our coverage of Grant Morrison's new X-Men run, and it was a very fun podcast to record, but unfortunately there were audio problems on it, and our dialogue between the two of us like overlaps, and I don't know how to fix that. So it was a very fun episode that you will probably never get to hear. So
boo.
That is a bummer. Yeah. But in the meantime, Maggie and I covered Wonder Woman with Natasha on Unspoiled. If you would like to listen to us talk about Wonder Woman, go to the Unspoiled website and subscribe to the newsletter, and you will have access to that episode for free. And that was a lot of fun. This episode is all about Spider-Man because even though we're on hiatus, we had to do a podcast on this movie because it's super great. But
it was super great.
We also really liked Wonder Woman.
Yes, we did. We liked most of things about Wonder Woman, and then we trashed the ending more than I think we expected to going in.
I think Natasha was the most angry at that ending, but yeah,
you may have gotten the two of us a little ramped up as she started talking about it more and more. I was like, that did kind of suck. So, but the rest of it was good.
Definitely the best DC movie in a long while.
Oh God, yes.
And the only good one that is in there, like, you know,
their current universe.
Knockoff, cinematic universe. Mm-hmm. But so Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What did you think of this movie?
I very much enjoyed this movie. I now have inappropriate feelings about Tom Holland, and that's unfortunate. I wish there was more.
That is creepy.
I know.
I mean, he's 21, but he looks 15.
But he doesn't in life. It's the muscles. It's the muscles, man. It's just, it's not right. It's not right.
He is a very fit boy.
Don't say boy. It's just, it's uncomfortable. I also have a thing for Hot Aunt May, which makes it even weirder. Oh, yeah. Like, I'm hot for the 21-year-old and the 54-year-old in this movie.
You're not so hot on Michael Keaton, which is
unfortunate. I love Michael Keaton, though. I do not find him attractive, but I adore Michael Keaton.
We're gonna get into it because
so good.
Yeah. What is happening with Michael Keaton?
Why is he not in everything? He needs to be in everything else. Like, for so long, he just was gone for a really long time. In that, I remember when he was on an episode of 30 Rock, he was on the 100th episode, or it was a special episode. It was like an hour-long episode, and he had a guest role on it. And when he showed up on 30 Rock, I was like, it's Michael Keaton. I missed Michael Keaton. Where's Michael? He's been living on his, multiplicity money and not working, I guess. And that's how
he was in Multiplicity. He was in Jackie Brown, and then I didn't see him for like 10 years.
When was that Snowman movie? He was a snowman in the movie. I think that might have been the death blow for Michael Keaton for a while. He was like, maybe I'll take some time off after that one. Multiplicity was in 1996, I know, because I went to see it on a date with my boyfriend who had already seen it and wanted to see it a second time, if that tells you anything about that relationship.
That sounds really hot.
No. But I've also been on dates to such lovely movies as Junior, starring Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. That was my first date ever. Was to go see Junior. Dumb.
That's terrible.
I know. It wasn't. We meant to go see Interview with a Vampire, but we got the time wrong, and so we had to go see what else was there, and that was the only thing that was there at that time.
My first date movie, and this is going to make you angry, but that's like on the bingo card.
Okay.
My first date movie was The King's Speech, which I blew late. So it's not that I'm quite that young, but still. And I went with a group of friends, and we made out the whole time. And that just sounds very awkward for everyone.
It's really weird. That's a weird movie to make out during. I made out all the way through the Beavis and Butthead movie.
That's worse.
Yeah.
That is so much worse.
Well, that one I had already seen. I'd already seen that one and wanted to see it again, and took my next boyfriend after the Multiplicity boyfriend. And we just made out through the whole thing. So, yeah. There was nothing else to do during that movie, Krista. You're correct. But yeah. That's my date history. Oh, and Dumb and Dumber with the Junior guy. That was another date movie.
I like how we made it like
5
all of
seconds
15 seconds
before it's like
Spider-Man
Maggie's
talk,
date history.
before being like,
okay.
Oh, both of our date history.
I did not go see any Spider-Mans on dates, any of the prior Spider-Man movies. I do not like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, as we've discussed in the past. And I never saw the Andrew Garfield ones because I do not care for Andrew Garfield, and I didn't hear good things about him, so why bother?
Well, I have seen all of the Spider-Man movies. I saw Spider-Man 1 when I was still living with my parents. I would have been
young.
11?
Yeah.
And I remember we went, we lived out in the sticks, so we drive up to Tulsa, which is about an hour away, to go see this movie. It is completely packed to the point where we don't get seats together. And when I go to the bathroom, I come back and the seat I had was gone. So I sat on the stairs going up to the seats and watched the movie. I was too young to like be upset by that. I loved the movie.
Okay.
And I vividly remember like coming back to the bathroom, my seat is gone, and I look behind me and the teaser trailer for Ang Lee's Hulk is playing. And I'm just like, everything in my life is going great.
Yeah, and then you saw Ang Lee's Hulk and things went less great.
Yeah, I loved all of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies as they came out. Like even 3, I didn't really notice how terrible it was until at least the second viewing. I liked the first Andrew Garfield movie, okay. And then the second one was one of the most disappointing movie-going experiences ever. That movie is fascinating in how bad it is. It tries to be about 4 different Spider-Man movies, one half of which is a very good Spider-Man movie. But it's lost in very, very bad. It's not worth watching.
I have seen, so I guess I didn't ever see Spider-Man 3. I saw Spider-Man 1, which I find ultimately forgettable, which was entertaining enough to watch at the time, but I was like, meh. And then Spider-Man 2, I liked Dr. Octavius, I guess.
Spider-Man 2 is held up by a lot of people who were into superhero movies at the time as being better than this one, even in some cases. I don't think it's aged well. I think it's,
and I even
Tobey Maguire is still.
Tobey Maguire is such a crap Spider-Man. Like, this kid is a perfect Spider-Man. He is exactly the Spider-Man that we need as a culture.
He is the Spider-Man that we deserve.
He is.
And the one that we need right now.
He is not the one that we deserve. We deserve nothing. We're terrible human beings.
Yeah.
We've failed in every respect. So please let us have a good Spider-Man at least. We need a good one. I've said before, I don't really read standalone Spider-Man comics very often. But I love him in any of the Avengers teams that he's in. Anytime he shows up, just like tagging along when he's in Howard the Duck. Howard
the Duck Spider-Man is very special.
He's hilarious.
Chip Zdarsky in that comic just decides everyone in that book is a very one-note distilled down version, and Chip Zdarsky's vision for Spider-Man in that book is that he just breaks down crying anytime something bad happens.
It's hilarious.
And like,
because he keeps having like
traumatic
it's like traumatic flashbacks to Uncle Ben dying. So first he like blows off Howard when Howard's trying to ask him for help, and he comes back and he thinks Howard's dead because he sees like a pile of feathers on the ground of the roof or something, and he just like breaks down weeping, like, oh my God, Uncle Ben, I failed you completely. And then when Howard does come back from whatever dimension he traveled off to, Spider-Man's got like a candlelight vigil.
Yeah, like I forgot about that.
And Howard's like, hey, yo, what's up, Spidey? And like wanders past, and he's like, what the fuck's happening? And then he thinks that Aunt May gets disintegrated at one point, and then that one he falls on the ground and goes, why am I so bad at this? So I'm very entertained by that. But I like him as a foil to Wolverine in the Avengers books from the middle of last decade. Because he's just snarky as fuck, and I love it.
I don't like that Spider-Man and Wolverine like became Avengers. I'm very hardcore against that,
I
but
understand that.
I like them best in that run when the two of them are bouncing off of each other.
Yes.
Bendis has a weird thing about pairing Spider-Man and Wolverine in the Ultimate Universe. He's a weird arc where they Freaky Friday, which has the distinction of being the only arc of Ultimate Spider-Man that I like. That's my favorite superhero run, probably.
Okay.
It like got me back into comics. That is the arc that almost makes me hate Ultimate Spider-Man, because Bendis does a bit where Wolverine in Peter's body is like jokingly implied to have hooked up with Mary Jane, who is a teenager in that.
What?
It's real not cool, man. It's really not the best.
I don't like that. I don't like it.
I know.
I don't like it.
It's really bad. That's kind of a trait with Ultimate Wolverine, because Jean Grey.
Gross?
Yeah. Ultimate Jean Grey is like 19 years old, and he totally hooks up with her too. It's pretty terrible.
Well, to be fair, anybody that Wolverine hooks up with is going to be considerably younger than he is. So let's just get that out of the way.
Look, I am fascinated by the Ultimate Universe.
He's 200.
Yeah, but I feel like after a certain point, it's just whatever.
Anyway, but yeah, I like youthful, energetic, not like he doesn't have shit going on in his own head. Peter Parker, like he's got a dark side, and he deals with it by being a smart aleck a lot of the time. And Tobey Maguire never captured that at all. He was so hangdog.
And Andrew Garfield did that some way, but he was also just not enough of a dweeb.
Yeah.
Like he was kind of a skater boy, and America said, "See you later, boy." And then Sony made the deal with Marvel. Yeah, I had to do that.
No, you didn't. You did not have to do it.
No, there was something you've never seen any of the Andrew Garfield?
No. Is there? Oh, he froze.
Can anyone in the chat hear me?
Hey.
Okay.
Hi, back.
You're back.
Okay.
I like that you're disgust with my joke.
Totally ruined the whole thing. Yeah. Okay, I'm back.
But Andrew Garfield is like too smarmy and goofy, and not enough of that put upon kid.
Good. Yeah.
And I feel like Tom Holland is a really good
exactly
like balance.
Yes.
I'm used to a Spider-Man that is a little older, like.
Sure.
When I was reading Spider-Man and the Spider-Man cartoon from the 90s, which I watched a lot as a kid, were like college student Peter Parker.
Yeah. And clearly I haven't read any of the ones from like the 60s or anything like that. So I'm also used to Peter Parker, who is older, and I guess the furthest back that I've read are the Civil War ones that I read that lead up to that horrible arc with Mephisto that I loathe. And
it's the worst Spider-Man story of all time.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It in a lot of ways it kind of fixed Spider-Man because he was in a big rut at the time, but it's still, as a story, is really, really bad.
Well, my issue with that is I feel like if May found out what he'd done, and I don't know if that ever happened, if they ever dealt with anybody finding out about that reset or whatever, but I feel like May would slap him in the face. She would be like, I told you, I knew this would put us in peril. I understand. I'm 80 fucking years old. I'm ready to go. Don't ruin the rest of your life and leave the love of your life to save me. Like, whatever. I had a good run, Pete. Just let it go. Have kids. Enjoy. Like, go on with your life. Your great aunt is going to die eventually. She's going to, because in these comic books, she's not Marissa Tomei. She's an elderly woman. And
she's Rosemary Harris in this comics. Yes. Like 100%.
Oh, total. Like she basically looks like she's ancient in those comics. She's just as far from
No.
Marissa Tomei as you possibly can be. So.
Yeah, it's not just like it's bad character wise, it's also bad just like making sense wise.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's shot with a bullet, and you know, in the Marvel universe there are lots of different ways you could be like, hey, Doctor Strange, could you do a thing maybe?
Yeah.
And he's just like, nope, I can't. I don't even know magic, actually. I don't know where you heard that. I'm a magician. I guess you're gonna have to make a deal with the devil. That scene basically happens.
Yeah.
It's really, we're not here to talk about One More Day.
No,
you mentioned the 60s comics. After this, I am reading the 60s comics. Of all of 60s Marvel. I think it holds up the best. It's very dated, but in a fun way, not in a terrible slog sort of way.
I would like you to report back to me on how incredibly Ayn Randy it gets. Because of Ditko.
This is why, okay, Stan Lee gets a lot of crap, rightfully so, for taking too much credit when he was not doing the lion's share of the work in any individual story. He deserves so much credit, though, for making Spider-Man a character that people would like, because there is very little of that. Like, there is some that does eke out, because especially later, Ditko, who is a crazy Randian objectivist, was doing most of the storytelling, but by rewriting the dialogue, which is pretty much all Stan Lee did back then.
Yeah.
He makes a character that would be terrible into the best superhero ever.
Right. Did you see the conversation that I had on my objectivist friends page? Did you happen to see this, where somebody wrote and said that he hated the movie because it was social justice warrior bullshit? And I wrote back and said, yeah, like, in what universe would, you know, Spider-Man say anything about selflessness or personal sacrifice to help others? That's so not who Spider-Man is at all. Like, with great power comes absolutely zero responsibility to help anybody at all, ever. What the fuck? No. Rational selfishness. Go Team Ayn Rand.
It is crazy that
and
Spider-Man...
even most of the objectivists laughed at that.
Yeah.
Like, even the other objectivists were like, yeah, that's crazy. Like, what are you saying? Social justice warrior.
It's crazy that Spider-Man will forever be Steve Ditko's legacy.
It is. It kind of is. It's so backwards.
It is. He creates. Steve Ditko deserves the lion's share of credit for Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange is a very Ditko temperamented character.
Way more sense. Yes.
Especially back then.
Yeah.
But Stan Lee, man, fixed that shit.
Yeah.
Like, all of the good stuff that Ditko could do, because Ditko is an amazing creator, like artistically and in design. Like, there's so much to Spider-Man that was just not typical of how superheroes were done, just design wise. Like, that costume, the creepy eyes, the weird poses, the fact that he's not like buff as shit. Like, I know Tom Holland is like shredded, but he's not a big, beefy,
he's slender.
person. Yeah, exactly.
He's like, lean. He's lean and mean. That Tom Holland. God damn it.
He's got a dancer spot. It's
pretty
amazing.
Well, I even like in the preview when they showed him, like the scene where
when the costume slides off of his...
In the preview, when I saw that, I went, no, what are you doing to me? Like, that is crazy. And yes, Chris is right. He is a dancer. We have now gotten to see his dance skills on that lip sync show that LL Cool J does.
Is that Kimmel?
No, LL Cool J's lip sync show.
Oh, it's a different thing. I thought it was one of the late night lip sync things that they do.
No, it's the well, it is on late night, but it's the show that's just like the lip sync challenge. So you may have seen the one where Channing Tatum's wife lap dances on him to Pony. That is another thing that I enjoyed on that show. Okay, anyway, have you seen the Tom Holland one where he sings Umbrella?
Okay, where he does Umbrella. That's pretty great.
And he as soon as he started dancing in that, I went, oh, I bet he did Billy Elliot on stage, didn't he? Like, just something in my brain went, oh, he's British and young and dancy. He must have been Billy Elliot. I bet anything. And I went and looked it up right away, and I was like, yep, that's what he did. That's where he started out. He was Billy Elliot. But yes, he's lithe and moves nicely.
And that, like, you know, as much as it's hard to believe Stan Lee's version of events, but at the very least, you've got to know that that Stan Lee decided to go with this very different thing, and it revolutionized comics. I think Spider-Man is the second most important character to superhero comics, and the only reason Superman is more important is because he's the first.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because everything about a modern superhero story is all thanks to Spider-Man. Like, Fantastic Four was the first real Marvel comic, but like it all goes to Spider-Man, I think. But we should talk about this movie instead of you know,
well, this is all Spider-Man related. It all builds into the movie. So yeah, I like this a lot because it was so different from the other ones and was so Liz and I are on the same wavelength about this. We could just keep talking more about the liveness, but we should probably move on.
Keep talking about this young man's butt.
I like his front. I don't know. The front looks good. Get to see a lot more of his front in this movie. He's constantly changing in alleys and shit. But it was adorable. Like him running out into the alleyway and like hopping up and down trying to put the costume on. I'm like, look how cute he is.
He's pretty great.
He's adorable. And he webs his backpack to the side of the dumpster. That's so cool.
Like everything about the way he moves, like quickly, like
it's Spider-Man-y.
You know, I'm not going to say I would love to do podcasts on all of the Spider-Man movies because even the bad ones are interesting. There are some charms to the Raimi movies. Like there are things I like in them still, even though I don't think they hold up now. But nothing about the way he moved in those movies. It always felt too slow and too CGI, but we can't hold that against it. But everything about the quickness and how he moves is so perfect. And even the way he like uses his web shooters, there's just such a like sudden movement to it that I really enjoy.
I've seen people complain about this movie that he doesn't seem to have Spidey sense. And I also found that, I mean, I guess maybe they're working up to it, but his strength wasn't what I felt like it should be, based on what we've seen in the comics. Because
I feel like it's about right. He lifts that car. He does. In the Civil War?
Yeah, but he does. No, I mean, like, he should be stronger than he seems to be in this movie because he's supposed to have like the relative strength of a spider, and the fact that it seems like a lot of the things he does are more of a struggle for him than they should be. And I don't know if some of that's just psychological. Like that's how I felt about the end scene where he was lifting all the like the collapsed building off of himself, basically. That like he could do it. He clearly could do it. He did do it. And he just needed to psych himself into it. Yeah. Spider-Man punched Hulk to the moon. Okay.
Hold on. Okay, Chris in the chat is saying that Spider-Man punched Hulk to the moon. He had cosmic powers. That's not fair. His powers were amplified. That doesn't count.
But even ramping it down from there, you still have to have a pretty solid base to be able to
I feel like
punch him to the moon.
In the Silver Age, like a car was about as strong as he got, and I feel like later on he's like maybe lifting buses, but in this movie he lifts a building off of himself.
Not an entire building, just a couple parts of some buildings. There's like some what I'm saying is Luke Cage seems stronger than Spider-Man to me. Right?
Maybe a little bit.
You know, that seems way off to me. I don't think that's how it should be. I'm opposed to that. Like, and you know, I love Luke Cage, but he should not be stronger than Spider-Man.
But all Luke Cage does is punch stuff. I think it's fine that he's stronger than Spider-Man because Spider-Man has lots of other cool things he does.
All right. Well, fine.
Power levels and stuff like that, like I'm just not that kind of comic fan when it comes to adaptations. There are things that they change in this movie from Spider-Man that do bug me. His powers don't the only thing is, yeah, they're saying he doesn't have spider sense. He still has like crazy reflexes.
Yeah, that's true. Which is really
they didn't do a scene like in the other movies where like they explicitly show him using it and like it slows down time. But I think they could like,
yeah, that would have come off really Quicksilvery in kind of an obnoxious way. So it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
But yeah, Liz agrees with me that a lot
wavy
of
lines
coming
off of his head. I'm very pro wavy lines.
But yeah, anyway, should we start from sort of the beginning? Do we want to talk about characters? What do we want to do?
Well, we're always already a good ways into this, so maybe just a more general approach is good. But the movie, I do really like the way the movie starts, because it starts with what is now maybe my favorite MCU villain, and that's crazy to me because the Vulture isn't even in my top 10 of Spider-Man villains in the comics. Like all of my least favorite characters in comics, aside from the ones that are like grossly problematic, are the ones that just have wings. I always hate that as a superpower. I hate Angel. I hate Hawkman. I hate all of those dudes. And the Vulture is an old man in a green bird suit. And that is how is an old man in a green bird suit going to beat up Spider-Man? I know Spider-Man, his whole deal is that he's kind of terrible at what he does. He's the worst he is at what he does, which is why he pairs so well with Wolverine. But come on, he's like 70 years old and just has to flap his arms. But they completely change everything in the Vulture to the better, and Michael Keaton fucking kills it. And
so good. He's a sympathetic villain. That's what's crazy. Like he's not in that he's, murderous and selfish.
He's ruthless.
Yeah. But he's a dude, and you understand like why he does the things he does, and he's gotten screwed over in a lot of ways, and it makes sense. Like he's not just like power hungry for the sake of being power hungry in a weird way, like
he's like a Sopranos character.
Yeah.
Like he's doing questionable things.
He's a Sopranos character. Exactly. I like that.
Not even like a Wilson Fisk level of like gross, over excessive wealth. Just like a upper middle class lifestyle, so his daughter can go to a good school and his wife can drive a nice car.
It's a little more than upper middle class. That is a nice ass house.
It's a very nice house.
He's making a lot of money.
He's not living in a crazy penthouse.
No, he's not. That's right. He's out in Long Island, just doing. It's what a construction boss dreams of having it as his lifestyle. Like, what I'm going to get? I'm going to get this fat house with lots of glass windows, drive a nice car.
Yeah, and you get the impression that like before he started doing this and business became good, he probably didn't live in quite such a nice house.
And it seemed like he even says he's like, I had to sell things to buy trucks for this job when whichever one it is, Cagney or Lacey or whoever it is, comes in and says, you're out, the government's taking over. And he's like, but I have a contract. And she's like, don't care. And he's like, but I had to spend my own money to do this. And they're like, don't care. And
that shitheel guy, because first of all, the people who take over, because they are going to clean up after Avengers 1, which I love.
That we went all the way back to Avengers 1.
You go all to Avengers 1, it's a guy on the streets view of like how the universe is changing.
Right.
Like the world of the Marvel movies is no longer our world in any appreciable way. Aliens came down and existed. Kids are literally drawing actual real life superheroes. It's like just a part of life now. And people have, unlike in Civil War, where I didn't really like how they explored that, maybe superheroes are bad. In this, it's just like a low-key kind of resentment. That, they wrecked the city. We're going to do this job. It's crazy that this has happened, but also when Tony Stark creates the Department of Damage Control, which is a goofy thing from the comics that I love.
Can I say that that's the most Tony Stark thing that reminded me the most of Tony from the comics that I've seen in any of these movies? Because it reminded me
he created this thing.
Well, I feel like they tend to paper over how much Tony is still in this, at least partially. We see he's in it for the glory, but he's also in it for the power. And they don't deal with that a lot in a lot of the other movies. This just reminded me so much of him behind the scenes in the Civil War Illuminati shit, where he's clearly moving puzzle pieces around to be able to get the sort of power that he wants on like a governmental level. And so for him to sort of be insinuating his private money-making enterprise into a government enterprise is that same sort of shady, like, oh, Stark Industries is just weaseling its way into things, which I feel like has not been dealt with in most of the more recent MCU movies.
You get that in Civil War when he tries to take charge, and then he kind of uses his position in that to just do whatever he wants.
But that's different. That's slightly different because he's not, he there seems like he has a motivation for doing it that is at least somewhat genuine. Like it makes sense. Because he's being like, that mom was mean to me and I fucked up and I gotta make myself feel better.
Well, that's not
this at all.
To be.
No,
that's how I actually took this to be, because he like looks down and he's like, okay, we did this crazy thing, but I can fix it. I've got money. I'll just do this thing, like throw all of my money at it and it'll fix everything. And what we see here is a consequence of him having that attitude, because he thinks it fixes everything, but what he's really doing is, the small business people, those little guys that he doesn't even think about.
No.
And, Keaton has a great speech towards the end where he's just like, those people don't think about us. They don't care about us. Even though we do all this shit for them, we're nothing to them. We're nothing but a commodity. And if we're, if something better comes along, then he doesn't even need us for that,
Yeah. I don't know. Anytime I see Tony just trying to get involved in any sort of governmental anything, and yes, it happens in Civil War too, but this just seemed seedier for some reason. It may just have been how they presented it, because in this movie, Tony just seems creepier and smarmier than he does a lot of the other time. They just don't even bother really trying to make him particularly sympathetic in this movie at all in a lot of ways. He's entertaining. And at the end, you see that he's kind of like, all right, I probably may have done a couple things wrong here. You're right. But he's also just glad-handing and running around all the time and, at fancy weddings and whatnot, and not hugging, just opening doors. And leaving all this responsibility on Happy's shoulders, where it really should not be. Like, Happy should not have had any of this responsibility. And if he did have the responsibility, Tony should have made it clear to Happy that it was an actual responsibility. And
well, Tony is clearly like behind Happy's back, keeping an eye on things because he knows about the churro that Spider-Man got.
But Happy's just blowing it off so completely that I was like, answer your goddamn messages. I understand he's an annoying kid, but like, this is your job, Happy. It is. It's just your job. Being like the gopher is not the fun job, but you get to drive the fancy car. Enjoy.
Well, okay.
You clearly got a facelift. Good job, Happy. You scored a facelift out of all this, because that's not Jon Favreau's original face. But yeah, so beginning, Tony screws the guy out of his job, but they manage to smuggle some stuff out of the site.
Well, maybe my favorite scene in the whole movie is the smarmy damage control guy being like, I guess you shouldn't have overextended yourself. And he has the most Sopranos moment where he's just like, what did you say?
Yeah.
And then he punches that guy in the face, and it's maybe the most satisfying moment in the entire movie. It's so great.
I love that your most satisfying moment in the entire movie is the villain getting to punch someone.
Getting to punch
an
a smarmy bureaucrat.
Yeah,
like I'm always going to be cool with that. But yeah, they go back to their thing. They've still got some stuff left over, and his construction boys, like,
Is that boys with a Z at the end? Like,
yeah. All of these guys, well, not all of them, a lot of the guys, the like low-level guys in this are based on comic characters. And the guy, he's got this guy who just likes to tinker with things. He's based on a supervillain called the Tinkerer.
The Tinkerer.
Who makes shit for supervillains. And he's like, well, I hooked up this Chitauri thing to this little drone, and it powers it, so we should probably go into making weapons. And he's like, gotcha.
Yeah.
And so smash cut to 8 years later, and he's got his sweet vulture like drone wing rig thing. And I love his jacket with the like fur ruffles.
Yeah, that's a good touch.
Which is like the smallest like homage to his costume, having the feathers. And he's just like, yeah, this is what I do now. I have this crew of
this giant,
somehow I have converted my construction business into a underground black market weapons dealing thing. And this is what we do now.
I like that, and it's, I can't remember who it was in the chat a couple seconds ago mentioned that his first kill was a pretty hardcore, ugly kill that he didn't even mean to do. And
he just rolls.
Yeah. I just love that he did not need to really like flip a switch to go in this moral direction at all. He was like, yeah, okay, no, let's just build things that will murder many, many people. Let's do that. Yeah, sure. I got to do what's right for my family. I'm like, how is that what's right for your family? How is that not going to put your family in danger at some point when you're arms dealing, man? Like, why wouldn't that occur to you? But he's like, no, we're good. That sounds like a plan.
He is the MCU Heisenberg, like 100%.
That is very true. He's making blue meth.
Okay, so you mentioned Happy. I love Happy in this movie. I always liked him in the Iron Man movies.
Yeah.
I mean, I like all the Iron Man movies, and one thing that I think they always did pretty well, except for when they had Howard, what's his name, who played Rhodey 1.0.
Oh, Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard. He was terrible, but I felt like he was the only weak link in the supporting cast of those movies, and they quickly fixed that, thank God. But I like him even more as the put upon middle manager of this kid who does not want to do this.
It's very entertaining, but it was also very frustrating. I was like, yes, stop calling him about your churros. This is ridiculous. But at the same time, Tony, don't give him this suit and then be like, all right, go have fun.
Well, he's got him on camera. Everything's being monitored through the suit.
But call him back every now and then, because he's a 15-year-old. It's basically like he's a teenager who just got ghosted by his hero. And he's like, why won't he call me back? And it just drives him crazier and crazier. And so he's pushing himself to do more things that he shouldn't be doing.
It's only been 2 months. I'm fine with that. Like, realistically, I mean,
have you ever been ghosted for 2 months?
I mean,
bonkers. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, everything from Civil War holds true, that it is crazy and irresponsible already that Tony did this, that he like brought him on with the thing. And I love the little home
do mention
movie.
That later. Yeah. Oh, the home movie was so great. Did we just skip? Yeah, that's fantastic. All of that was so great.
Well, I'm trying to not talk about everything, right, but that you can't pass it up, because it's such a good, let's get back into Peter's head and let's see what Civil War was like for him, for his perspective. It's also like crazy irresponsible that he was allowed to record and make this movie. But like, whatever, like you just got to go with it because it is the cutest.
And I also thought it was a good way of sort of, pulling back in the Peter Parker as photographer sort of concept. The fact that now he's Peter Parker YouTube videographer. We're changing it up for the 21st century.
And it made me think that, Tony finds Peter from YouTube And I always just assumed that was some passerby video, but it was probably totally him who uploaded that video of him catching that car. And the Andrew Garfield movies tried to kind of do some things with him being a photographer. I don't think he ever went and got a job at the Daily Bugle, but that's one of those things that they're going to have to like reinvent in some way, because newspapers just aren't a thing anymore.
No. But no, they do a really good job of like, they demonstrate that he's nerdy and they demonstrate that he's artsy and interested in, if not photography, terrible videography, whatever teenagers today consider to be videography. It's basically YouTube mumblecore with superheroes. And yeah, I loved that whole sequence. Everybody in my theater was giggling their asses off for that whole part. It was very entertaining.
I should say I've seen this twice now. I think you've only seen it once.
I want to take Dolly to see it, but we haven't had a chance to do that yet.
The first time I watched it, I didn't enjoy it quite as much, because it was like when I watch a new a new Star Wars movie. I spend the first viewing just being like, does this feel right? Because especially with this movie, it's such a departure in a lot of ways to just a character that I am very familiar with and have very kind of concrete ideas of what it is. And then the second time I watched it, like I just had a big stupid grin on my face the entire time. I adore this movie, and the lightness of it, like especially makes up for all of those other movies, which captured some things of him so well, but not that specific thing. So even though they're, in a way, I'm tired of Marvel movies feeling like they can never take themselves seriously, even for a second. But especially for this character, I was just
this movie did not need to be taking itself seriously. Yeah. Perfect. There are other movies they can do that with.
And yet, since we're talking about tone, it also has maybe the best dramatic scene of any MCU movie.
Oh my god, I gotta say, so now we're skipping all the way to the end, but
who cares?
Oh my god, the whole audience gasped. Everybody gasped when he opened that door. It had not occurred to me, and I was like, because I was like, oh, that's my own internal racism right there. It did not occur to me that her dad could be a white guy. Clearly, totally, like, because you hear him mention over and over again, I'm doing this for my family, I'm doing this for my kid, whatever. And I'm usually so into the, the idea of the law of conservation of characters. If you hear somebody talking about their family, it's got to be somebody you know. It's got to be somebody who's in there, especially if it comes up more than once. Did not occur to me for a second.
On that note, that is what I hate about all the other movies. And that's what I hate about Spider-Man as a character. Like, I hate that coincidentally everyone he knows winds up becoming a supervillain, or Aunt May happens to meet Otto Octavius and almost gets married to him just by crazy coincidence. I almost always hate that. But as much as I hate that, and as much as I'm sick of, I was thinking about it, in every single theatrically released Spider-Man movie, the bad guy figures out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. I hate that. I hate it when they.
You just froze on me again. For the. Ooh. Can you guys hear me, or can you hear Owen? Oh, okay.
Okay, here we go. Okay. I don't know why this keeps happening to me.
Okay, it's not too bad. It's only happened twice. We've had worse.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
so
this
you
time
were
I'm
yelling about
notes.
Yeah, you were yelling about hating how they figure out that he's Spider-Man.
That happens in literally every single Spider-Man movie, and I am still sick of it, but this does that.
It was done so well.
Than not just any Spider-Man movie, better than any superhero movie.
Such a great reveal. Such a great reveal of him seeing of Peter seeing him, and then such a great reveal in the car of him figuring it out. Oh my god! And the look on Peter's face. I have to say that's probably, the rest of the movie I was like, yeah, Tom Holland, he's too cute. I can't deal with it. But that scene was the one where I was like, okay, but he's interesting too. Like, he's not just a super cute kid. He can act. Because him in the back of that car as he's dealing with this and realizing not that he knows what's going on, but now the Vulture knows what's going on and has figured everything out, and he's so super uncomfortable and angry and terrified and all these different emotions you can see going on in this poor kid. And I was like,
and Liz is like, oh yeah, he's met Spider-Man. We went to Washington D.C. and Peter wasn't at the thing.
And Peter's
it could be so shoehorned in, but it's done naturalistically. That this is mentioned, like in some of those other Spider-Man movies, even they'll just like people just bring up randomly things that give him away. And this, it's done very.
It totally makes sense that she would say all of those things that, you know, and that her dad would be asking those sorts of questions, like, "Oh, how do you guys know each other? Where'd you meet? Decathlon? How'd that go?" You know.
And Michael Keaton, like I said, like maybe my MVP even for this movie, as much as I love Tom Holland.
Oh yeah, I'll agree
when he realizes what it is, you just see every little, like every time another puzzle piece is introduced, you just see it in his face. And then he's at the stoplight and his face is red in the reflected light, and then it turns green and he just utters my favorite line in the movie, which is good old Spider-Man. In this, just like, better pour on the charm in front of my daughter and act like everything is cool. And then, you know, when he threatens him in the parking lot.
It's so good. I gotta say, just the career sort of, not bookends because it wasn't the beginning and this isn't the end, but having the Batman versus Vulture, you know, supervillain bookends on either.
The greatest, most popular superhero, and then the most
Vulture. But what I'm
villain.
saying is a supervillain with wings, so can fly like a bat. So
and he just made Birdman.
Yeah, and he made Birdman, but
years ago.
Right, but that was which was based on the Batman concept, and which
I need to watch.
I do need to watch that too. It was on something. It's on one of the streaming things. I think it's probably still there.
It was on HBO. I don't think
it is anymore. God damn it! I'm so bad at that. I always miss them. I did that with Fury Road, like for weeks and weeks. I was like, I should watch that. And one day I was like, all right, I'm finally gonna go watch Fury Road, and I go turn on HBO, and I'm like, nope, it's not there.
Have you still not seen it?
No, I've seen it now because they put it up on FX for a week or something. I don't know why it was up, but I managed to see it. Yeah, it's real good. But yeah, having, you know, ultimate good guy versus Marvel Cinematic Universe best supervillain. Let's deal with it. Like, the fact that the best supervillain is Vulture is ridiculous, but he's the best one we've seen on screen. He just is.
Loki's really good.
Loki's good.
And there's someone else I'm thinking of that I really like.
And Loki's a villain, but Loki's also Loki's more complicated than just saying he's a straight up villain. And so
and he's had so much more material for you to glom onto.
Right.
But
and I'm not going to totally classify Loki as a nonstop 100% villain the way I'm able to with this dude, especially until after I see Ragnarok, because I'm interested to see what they do with Loki in Ragnarok. I'm just excited to see Ragnarok. So
Ragnarok looks so fucking great.
And there was one other good villain, and I'm forgetting who it was.
I mean, I like Ultron, but I know not a lot of other people do.
Fucking hate Ultron. I hate everything about Ultron. I hate it. And I hate him in the books. And I hate it. I hate Ultron as a concept. I don't want to see any Ultron.
You hate Ultron as a concept? He's a great idea.
No, I hate it.
He's a killer robot. He's based on Hank Pym's brain patterns, but not in the movies.
That's fair. But it also just the fact that he keeps coming back and keeps being like, now I'm unstoppable. Oh wait, you stopped me. Like, it's happened so many times. I'm tired of it. Who else? Yeah, and I also hated the voice actor. I couldn't deal with it being Spader. But because I was just like, why is fucking James Spader a robot? Like, I can tell that's James Spader. I cannot separate that.
Did you watch the later seasons of The Office, where he's Robert California, the eccentric billionaire who buys?
I'm sure I've seen a couple episodes.
he is basically Ultron, but he's like a crazy billionaire who like likes to pontificate.
He's kind of been like that since when he was a teenager, when he was in, you know, everything he was in as a teenager, like all the crappy John Hughes movies. He was in mostly the crappier ones. He's a smarmy, preppy asshole. He's a rich douchebag smarm fuck. I hate him.
Well, the only other thing I'd seen him in was I saw him in the Spanky movie.
What?
Yeah, there was some movie where he's like a boss who spanks his secretary.
Oh yeah, Secretary. It's called Secretary.
It's not that good.
No, I've seen it. Yeah, no, he's not the good thing about that movie. Maggie Gyllenhaal's good in that movie. He's adequate.
But this is not our secretary part.
No, this is definitely not the secretary part.
Nor will we be having one.
No. There's another good villain, and I'm totally blanking on it, other than Loki. Evan has decided that his favorite villain is Yellow Jacket, which is based on nothing. No textual evidence. Just seeing a picture of the Yellow Jacket Funko Pop has made him decide that that is his favorite Marvel villain. He also thinks that Iron Man is his favorite hero, and so Evan will be going to an orphanage soon because neither of those things are allowed.
Yeah, but those guys are the ones who look coolest in the posters.
And in the Funko Pops, they look cool in their shiny suits.
Yeah. I actually like Yellow Jacket quite a bit, but he's not like the best.
No.
He's like not touching. The thing about the Marvel movies, and I think everyone agrees on this, is that their villains are not great.
Or crummy. Yeah.
And I would rather have, because before that, in every other superhero movie, the focus was almost always on the villains. Mm-hmm. And I would rather have good heroes than, good villains overall.
Well, especially
because that's what makes the franchise good.
And also when you're talking about other superhero movies, you're basically talking about the older DC movies. And a lot of those, original Batman villains were just so campy and over the top that I feel like in a lot of ways, the MCU has tried to find like this middle path between, ice to meet you or ice to see you or whatever the fuck he was saying. I was drunk when we watched that. And Heath Ledger, like finding some middle ground between the camp and the dead serious has been what they've been aiming for. And they've just not been able to hit that target other than I guess with Loki. Somebody else I'm blanking on who I also like as a villain. And I'm totally gonna kick myself for.
Do you like Whiplash?
No, I don't like Whiplash.
I like the bad guy. I like Hydra from Cap 2, but they're not really a singular.
No, I don't even remember what Robert Redford's name is. What's his name?
It's definitely Robert Redford.
It is.
Yeah. You missed the deleted scene where they're like, Robert Redford, I didn't know that you work for S.H.I.E.L.D. in this alternate universe. He's like, yeah, not a lot of people know that.
Yeah, I retired from acting. It's like how Paul Newman went on to make salad dressing. I now run the government and also behind the scenes a evil supervillain empire. That's what Robert Redford has done. And Sundance. So he's real busy. He keeps busy.
We're hilarious.
We're hilarious tonight. What else? Let's talk about Spider-Man. Okay.
Characters. We've talked about how great Tom Holland is. Mm-hmm. He's good. We talked a little bit on Iron Man. I actually think he's in this the perfect amount, and I like him in this a lot. I will continue to have problems with Tony Stark as a person post Age of Ultron that have still not been addressed. Mm-hmm. But Robert Downey Jr. continues to be very fun to watch.
He's so good. I hate him for it. I hate him for it because I don't like Tony, but I love Robert Downey Jr. And I feel like Robert Downey Jr. makes me tolerate shit that Tony pulls more than anyone rationally should. Like, he should not have gotten away with anything with Ultron. He should be in prison. And instead, he's like, I got a goatee. Isn't it cool? Come on.
What? This is my third pair of $10,000 sunglasses that I've worn in this movie. Don't you love it? Look at me walking around India getting lays put around my neck. Is it weird? Was that India or was that supposed? I don't know.
It was definitely a Hindu wedding.
I apologize for not knowing anything about other cultures, but he does come across as a smarmy dick even in that, because he's just walking around talking on the phone, taking this
phone at a
drink.
fucking wedding and not paying attention. Like, that's not how you behave at a wedding.
He didn't even finish his drink. He takes the drink, takes one sip, leaves it on the windowsill, and then gets in a car to drive.
Yeah.
Bad man. But I like his role as as the mentor figure. And we talked about things that I had a hard time getting around because they're a departure, and Peter Parker doesn't have a superhero mentor. That's what makes him Spider-Man in a lot of ways, is he is an outsider to the superhero games. Right. Like, and nobody he teams up with people.
He is, and he's
the perfect team up character. Mm-hmm. Like, he had a long running series where all of it was he teams up with a different superhero this time. He's a great foil to people, but he doesn't join teams, and he's on his own, and that's what makes him who he is. And that's a huge departure in this movie, but it still works for me.
Mm-hmm.
And his relationship to Tony, especially when you compare it to what it is in the comics around the Civil War era, where it's just like, why are you hanging out with this dipshit? Mm-hmm. With him being so much younger, it just really works.
Because you get that hero worship aspect of it. Mm-hmm. And then you get Tony, as the movie goes on, come to terms with the fact that he's like, okay, I guess I have somehow inserted myself as a father figure into this kid's life. I guess I should probably try and be a better father figure than my father was, which fine. That's Tony's character arc in this movie. Fine. Just fine. I don't know how earned it is. Downey pulls it off because Downey always pulls it off. I don't think the script pulls it off. I think Downey pulls it off.
Yeah.
So
I think the script handles it fairly well. I think the ongoing property, like, as much as I still like Age of Ultron, and then going into Civil War, I feel like is what kind of fails the character. And the only thing that saves it is just how charismatic Downey is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of problems with Tony in the Iron Man movies themselves. In fact, I really, really liked him by the end of the first Iron Man movie. And then I liked him going in the beginning of Ultron, the part where he pushes on the little secret wall and he goes, yay, in that little voice. I was like, I love him so much. And then he pulls this banana shit and has no consequences. And I'm like, oh, he's a douche. Did I just miss how much of a douche he is? He's a total douche.
Yeah.
And then I started reading the comic books, and I was like, yeah, he's a douche.
Oh, in the comics, he's 100% douche.
Oh, 100% douche.
Can't.
Oh, well, you know how much I love that Namor panel where Tony finally shows his cards in Illuminati, and Namor's like, I told you guys that he's full of shit. Oh my God, this is the best. This is the best. I was right. And then he just leaves. He's just like, fuck you guys. You made your bed. Now lay in it. I told you he's bad news.
I like his armor in this is based off of Ultimate Iron Man. Have you ever seen what Ultimate Iron Man looks like?
Mm-mm.
It's like a matte gray body armor with just like the gloves and the helmet being colored. That's kind of what they're going for in this, which I thought was neat.
I like how they change it up every time because obviously he's still constantly always tinkering with it. So that works. Did you freeze again? God damn it.
Hey, what's
up? I can hear you now.
Okay.
You're still not moving. There you go. There it is. All right. Now you're moving. Yay. What was I saying? Tony's a dude.
We're talking about Iron Man.
Oh, yeah. So that he's constantly tinkering with the costumes, so they always are changing in every single movie. But yeah, what do we want
Which is doing Iron Man right. Yeah. Because in the comics, having different costumes is like the coolest thing about Iron Man.
That's really sad.
It's really true.
Really
when I was a kid, I inherited my dad's comic book collection, and the only issues of Iron Man he had were the ones where he had built a different armor. But back then it was like only every 5 to 10 years, and now it's like every time.
Every movie, every time we see him.
Which is smart.
So, what do we want to talk about? The other like student characters? Should we, or where should we go back to? Should we just talk?
Can we talk about Ned and how great he is?
He's great.
And how cute and hilarious, and he wears a fedora, but we don't hate him for it because he just doesn't know.
I know.
He wears it to the party and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
The hat's not working.
But I like, see, what makes him cool is he realizes the hat is not working.
He realizes that it's not working. Mm-hmm. He doesn't realize that it was a bad idea because he wears it to homecoming dance.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a lot of other options. He's like, this is all I got to work with. This is the one. I blew all my money on the one hat. No, he's great.
I like how there is no interpersonal drama between him and Peter, at least as far as like any kind of resentment.
No, there's like a momentary of like, you ditched me at the party. He was not super stoked about that. And Peter's like, I was kind of busy. He's like, oh yeah, that does sound like you were kind of busy.
Oh right, you're Spider-Man.
All right, yeah.
I love all of his dumb questions because, it is kind of crazy that this is in no way an origin movie. They don't even mention Uncle Ben.
No.
The only allusion to the origin is, Ned asks him all these dumb questions, and one of them is, "You got bit by a spider? Could the spider bite me? Where's the spider? Would it hurt?
The spider's dead."
The spider's dead. That's it. That's all we get.
Right.
And he asks a million other dumb questions that someone who is not familiar with Spider-Man would totally ask, like, "Do you lay eggs? Can you spit venom?"
So good.
Have you met Captain America? Yeah, I stole his shield. Oh, that's so cool.
No, he was great. He was well cast. I don't know where they found that kid because I've never seen him in anything else before, but he was great. I love that they showed him Peter's identity so quickly in the movie, that they had him have a buddy backup pretty much immediately and didn't make that drag out with like weirdness between him and his best friend. That would have been annoying. Yeah. I can see other movies doing that.
That's a huge departure.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as it being something that reminds me of the character in the comics, it's very different.
Yeah.
But I still like it. They did that in Ultimate Spider-Man though. Like he tells Mary Jane that he's Spider-Man at the end of the second arc or something. It's very quick. And I mean, there's a reason I like Ultimate Spider-Man better than like classic Spider-Man in that respect. I think it gives him someone to bounce off of a little more instead of it being so status quo, always the same deal, where they just milk that.
Mm-hmm. So other than him, we've got Flash.
Yeah, douchebag, not white Flash Thompson.
I like
which is
that.
What you would expect. He is a millennial bully.
Mm-hmm.
He is not an Archie character with a sweater vest, and he's holding a football even in school.
No, he was a DJ. He was DJing at the party, and like the meanest insult he could come up with was Penis Parker, which I was like, "You're not even trying, man." But he wasn't, and he was on the academic decathlon team. Like he wasn't just a jock dickhead. He was a dickhead, but he was kind of a slightly off kilter. It seemed like his status had more to do with him clearly being pretty wealthy compared to a lot of the other kids at the school.
Right.
That got him a lot of leverage going forward because he was driving a nice ass car. That car that Peter drives terribly at the end. I have a friend who knows about cars and wants to get a version of that car. It is a fancy fucking car.
What kind of, is it a Lamborghini or
no? It's an Audi TT. All the movies in this, all the cars in the movie are Audis, and they've done, which I didn't know Audis were even super fancy, honestly, because I always think of Audis as the cars that Jerry Seinfeld drove in Seinfeld. He always had a succession of Audis. And then it made sense to me when my friend told me he was going to get an Audi sports car, that I was like, oh, because Jerry Seinfeld's like a car nerd. So obviously even Seinfeld would be driving a nice car, even though it makes no sense for him to even have a car in Manhattan. But yeah, no, this car, all the cars in the movie are Audis. because they're doing a whole like revamped line, and they've done a bunch of ads with Spider-Man in them. And there's one for the car that Happy drives.
There's one where he goes to driving school.
And that's in the car that Happy has at the end. And that was the one where the Audi piece clicked for me, because they did a very serious close-up of the
self-driving mode.
The self-driving mode, the way that the dashboard looks, and then the Audi symbol itself got a real close-up look, and it just really struck me as him being like, wow, Mr. Hogan, this car sure is interesting. What is it? Why, Peter, it's an Audi R8. It's a 2017 all-new revamp. Like, it just really seemed a little bit car-addy right at the end for me, and that's what made me go, oh, I bet that other crazy car was the TT. And it is, with the crazy seats and the driving sideways, basically, because Peter doesn't know how to drive, which is entertaining. And for Flash to just get totally yanked out of the car is fantastic.
And he does his voice. He's like, Flash Thompson, I need a part of the car. In your phone. Actually, Mr. Spider-Man, sir, this is my dad's car.
Embarrassing Flash Thompson is a really a good thing to have in your Spider-Man movie.
Flash Thompson in the comics is just such a cliche that like I can't even give a shit about him. Like,
he's an Archie character.
Well, my friend Chase really loves Flash Thompson in the comics because he becomes a soldier. Like, it's super weird because it's Marvel Comics timeline. Like, he's drafted into Vietnam, but he's also an Iraq War veteran because comics makes no sense. And in the comics, he eventually becomes Venom. But he's like Army Venom, the soldier. I'm not a fan, but I'm glad that it's a departure because
this is more fun.
Like, Flash Thompson has been in the other two series of Spider-Man movies, and guess what? He wasn't memorable
at all,
interesting in any way.
No, so this was better.
Yeah, he's not in it much, but I would love to see him in future movies, maybe be explored a little more.
I like the random, basically non-speaking skinny Asian kid from Chess Club who also shows up in the bathroom. Like, there's like one other non-named student in the entire school, and it's that Chess Club guy.
Yeah, him and the mascot that keeps running through the halls in his tiger costume for some reason. I don't know.
They only had money for like 2 extras.
A reference.
But then there's Liz. Now, is there ever a love interest named Liz in the comics?
In the very early Steve Ditko comics, so we're talking like first 35 issues.
Okay.
Peter has a crush on a popular girl named Liz Allen. She is a blonde girl because.
Well, then this is unacceptable.
I don't want to touch on this too much because
it's boring, and I don't
on the internet knows that people have a problem that this is an entirely cast of white characters.
In Queens?
But the thing is,
what? They're not
my only response to that is always, yeah, I liked it when Spider-Man only dated white girls because it's true. He has only ever been with white girls, and that sucks.
Yeah, it's stupid.
And
no,
super lame. And super boring, and we don't like that.
Yeah, and I appreciated the movie just didn't make it a thing at all. Like, it was just like, he likes his girl, and the other girl he's clearly going to like in another movie because her name's MJ. What? Is also black, and they're not going to make a big deal out of that either. And it's infuriating nerds across the land.
Well, it's infuriating racists across the land, some of whom don't even really care that much. They just care about diversity being present. They say forced upon people, but what they really mean is present.
Yeah.
Which is what makes it the most annoying to me because, hey, newsflash, Liz Allen isn't a character that anyone ever cared about.
I didn't know she existed. So
even if you're the kind of person who's upset that the character isn't being visually represented in the way, which is never an excuse, but even then, like, Liz Allen doesn't have a definitive iconic visual in any way, and
her dad is MJ not the Vulture.
So, and MJ is not Mary Jane Watson.
No,
she's a different character. She's got a different name.
Yes, everything about her is different. She's nothing like MJ at all. Like beyond the color of her goddamn hair, she is not. She's just going to be another girl who happens to be named MJ, but the character's not the same.
That only bugs me in the way that it feels like a little bit of a cop out, and the character, like a lot of people really liked her.
Yeah, but I don't know. MJ's again. They're just I don't know. MJ's fine.
MJ in this movie, like, I didn't like her as much as a lot of people did. I don't have a problem with her. I just feel like she was a little too Ali Sheedy from The Breakfast Club. Like you can tell that she's in scenes and she has some funny jokes to set that hook, but she almost feels like an afterthought in this movie.
Maybe it was just the fact that I knew she was MJ or is going to be
I didn't
MJ. Know. I knew that, so I was fine with it. Because I knew they were setting that up. And I liked the idea that that's what they were going to make MJ be in this series, that that's who Peter's going to end up being attracted to, is this snarky, kind of weird nerd. I enjoy that. I also appreciate the fact that Liz is not an airhead. Like, he's not attracted to just like the hot popular girl because she's the hot popular girl. She's also smart. She's also super nice. She's also kind of into him too. Like, it's not just totally one-sided. Like, she's not super into him, but she's open to the concept of like, all right, he likes me. Let's see how that might go. That could be cool. Like, she's not just like, oh, Peter, you're so cute. It's so sweet, which is kind of where I was worried it was going. But no, she was like, yeah, we'll go to prom together or homecoming together. Yeah.
She's a million times better than what's her name, who played Mary Jane in the Raimi movies, who was really bad.
Yeah, Kirsten Dunst. She's not good in those movies.
Emma Stone was pretty decent in the
Emma Stone's good in most
Amazing
things.
Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, Emma Stone's generally pretty entertaining. She's good.
But I also like that this, like, even though this happens and the scenes that we talked about earlier with the Vulture play right into him liking Liz, it doesn't feel tacked on the way it does in the other movies. Right. It's just a pretty natural thing that, you know, comes up, and it's something he's thinking about this girl throughout the movies when he's also being Spider-Man, but it just doesn't feel as forced.
Right. Well, it's kind of an entertaining, like, every time he might actually, like, she's sort of paying attention to him and he's like, oh, I might actually be able to work up the courage to talk to the girl I like. Oh fuck, I have to go do something that requires actual, like, courage, like, that could put my life in danger. I gotta go do that because I gotta go do that. I can't work up my other kind of courage to deal with the pretty girl I like. And then, of course, that also brings us to the fact that Donald Glover is in this movie, which
I liked him a lot. He seems like he almost seems like he doesn't want to be there, but it's fine. It almost makes the character better.
I think it does make the character better. I think he's doing that on purpose. I think the fact that I don't think I remembered that he was going to be in it. So when he showed up, I laughed out loud because I remembered that people were trying to get him to be Spider-Man. And then, of course, the way that they structured this, how they wanted to work him into this, into the MCU, totally made that impossible. You couldn't make Donald Glover be this Spider-Man. He's way too old. But what they did instead was they set him up as Miles Morales' uncle, which I didn't know because I don't know I haven't read any of those. And
me neither.
And
I didn't realize until Trevor texted me like an hour after the movie. It's like 1 o'clock. He's like, "Oh, BT Dubs, that he's the Prowler. He's Miles Morales' uncle," and that like blew my mind. Like, I don't think that they're necessarily planning that, but they're leaving it open.
It could happen, and I loved that, and I love the fact that, you know, that means that Donald Glover might be back in another movie, because I enjoy him in everything. I don't think I've ever not enjoyed anything Donald Glover has ever done. He's delightful, and
I don't like Mystery Team, and that's about it.
I don't even what's the Mystery Team?
Mystery Team is a movie that Donald Glover was in with his old comedy buddies. That is about what if the Hardy. What I don't know the details.
Okay.
It's a bunch of people he used to do like YouTube videos with and stuff.
Okay.
Mystery Team is basically what if the Hardy Boys grew up and were actual like 18-year-old boy detectives.
Yeah, that sounds kind of terrible.
Trying to grow up. A lot of people like it. I don't.
Yeah, I didn't even know that existed. But I'm just going with, Community and Atlanta and his music, and I like all those things.
I need to watch Atlanta.
Oh my God, you totally need to watch Atlanta. You need to go get off of this, and we need to stop talking, and you need to go watch Atlanta because you will enjoy Atlanta an awful lot. That's a thing? YouTube jail for commenting too much? God damn. Well, that's a downside of this particular setup. Sorry, I just jumped over to the chat when we were talking about other stuff.
That's annoying.
But yeah, you need to go watch it.
And he's got his Lando Calrissian mustache right now.
He does have his Lando Calrissian mustache right now. Yeah, I'm going to say go watch Atlanta, especially the first few episodes really hooked me pretty darn fast. There is you saw Get Out, right? Wasn't that what it's called? The movie from this past summer, the one that Jordan Peele did. You never saw that?
Yeah, I have not seen it.
Oh my God. Okay, here's another thing you need to watch.
I will. I know it's great.
That. Okay, there's a side character in Atlanta who's also a side character in that movie that I'm sure you have seen gifs of, and he's fantastic in Atlanta. He's so funny. It's a very, very good show. I like it a lot. They do a lot of interesting things throughout the series. So it's not one note. It's not just sort of hitting the same beat over and over again. He tries to do lots of different stuff. This is not the Donald Glover podcast. I could do a Donald Glover podcast where I just sit around and be like, he's pretty, I like him. But he's also very talented and he's incredibly funny in this, in his tiny scenes. I have found him very amusing.
Scenes, but he's pretty great. He always seems like he's either just finished smoking a lot of weed or just rolled off of a couch.
Yeah.
Like he was taking a nap on a couch and he just rolled off of it.
He's like, fuck, I was supposed to go meet those guys about those Shatari weapons. I guess I got.
Oh, man. I was going to do a weapons deal in my.
Yeah.
Oh, the ice cream is melting. He is very good. The interrogation scene in particular, where Spider-Man webs him down and talks him into giving him the information on where the weapons deal is, and he gives it up. He's like, okay, I know where they are. And Spider-Man's already like completely breaks character, is like, yes, all right. And he's about to just run off, even though he hasn't found out where the deal is.
Hasn't actually gotten out the information yet.
You've got to get better at this part of the job.
So good.
And then Spider-Man leaves him there webbed to his car because
he's like, and he's like, come on, no, no, they could play off each other in another movie. I'd be down with that. Bring back Donald Glover as who did they have? I'm already forgetting who they're selling the weapons to. Who are they selling the weapons to?
They are selling the weapons on the ferry to Vic the Dick from Orphan Black, aka whatever the actor's name is, I don't know it, aka Matt Gargan, who is the Scorpion, and he's Scorpion first. For
I know, but then
years,
but
eventually becomes the second Venom,
right?
But we don't talk about that
which is the only thing I've seen him doing because they had. I'm pretty sure Matt Gargan as Venom was in a run of Secret Avengers, which
he was in Dark Avengers.
Oh, was he in Dark Avengers?
Spider-Man.
No, I'm thinking of him as Venom. He was definitely in Venom.
No, Dark Avengers is
and I read that too. Yeah, no, I know. But this was a different thing where he was in semi-reformed in a weird way. I'd have to look it up.
Thunderbolts.
It wasn't Thunderbolts. I've never read any Thunderbolts.
Okay, well, he was in Thunderbolts. Okay, what you guys
know what I'm saying is that Secret Avengers has all the worst characters in it at some point or another, driving me crazy because I'm a masochist and feel the need to read Secret Avengers to fill in the gaps in all these stupid event series.
You have the need to read only bad comic books, and you said it wouldn't stop you from reading comic books, but now neither one of us read comic books.
Oh, I'm reading the Austin run of Ultimate X-Men or of Uncanny X-Men. That's what I'm reading.
That is literally the worst X-Men has ever been.
I know. It's hilarious. It's so bad.
Why?
I've only got
6
more issues left of that before then I can switch to whatever the crappy like just X-Men standalone was that was running at I think the same time as Joss's Astonishing run. I have read most of Pretty Deadly, as Liz just asked, and I also just read the second volume of Monstrous today, which everybody should read because it's crazy high fantasy weirdness, and I like it. By Marjorie Liu. So that's my one comics recommendation is read Monstrous. And my comics not recommendation is don't read Marvel Comics the way that I have decided to read Marvel Comics. Because it's a terrible idea. Terrible idea.
You should be reading Silver Age Spider-Man above basically everything you're reading, and those stories are
I want to go back. If I'm going to read anything older, I'm going to read original New Mutants. So
I'm okay with that.
I know.
You probably won't like them because they're Chris Claremont.
I know.
But
they have so much stuff in them that I feel like I should read them. But no, I'm trying to convince myself to be able to get through Cable and Deadpool so I can read better Deadpool stuff so that I can read Spidey and Deadpool because this is how my brain works. It makes no sense. Oh, and my brain is stupid. We've established this. It's a stupid brain that does stupid things.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I just keep buying comic books that
you're never going to read. Yeah, no, I know what your situation is.
I've made it like one half through the Chip Zdarsky episode, and then I'm just like, I've got digital comics. Digital comics are like Netflix, which means that I can just like look at titles for hours and hours and then be like, oh, my time is done. I guess I'll just go to bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Matt Gargan.
Yeah. He was so nothing in this movie. I was really
No.
I didn't
let me
tell you.
Let me assure you, he is really good in Orphan Black. He is spooky in that Stinger. He is playing a character who is very not like Scorpion isn't a great Spider-Man villain, but neither was the Vulture.
Right.
I think he could totally be pretty cool in this.
Well, when they said Matt Gargan, I recognized the name. And then when he showed up on the ferry, I was expecting it to be like a more dynamic situation. And it just wasn't at all. I was like, the fuck is this guy? He's little and he barely says anything. I don't find him threatening at all. And he just fucking falls off a boat. I'm not impressed by this guy.
Well, he doesn't have a crazy exoskeleton grafted onto his body by J. Jonah Jameson.
Is that how Scorpion comes to be?
Yeah, it's weird. Like I said, Scorpion in the comics, not a great Spider-Man villain, but this actor could do something.
All right, if you say so. I thought the Stinger was not. I wasn't. I was like, yeah, all right, fine. But I like the Captain America one. Can we talk about the fact that Hannibal Buress is in this movie and how much I love Hannibal Buress in this movie? Just playing Hannibal Buress as he does in every. Hannibal Buress has never acted in anything in his life. He just plays.
Have you seen The Nice Guys?
Have I seen The Nice Guys? What's The Nice Guys?
It's got Cinderella Man and The Notebook in it, and their Private Eyes in the 70s. Ryan Gosling and who played Cinderella Man? The guy with the mole.
The guy with the mole?
Babe. Gladiator. Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe? Okay. You're going to call him Cinderella Man over Gladiator and expect...
I've never seen Gladiator.
Oh, you're such a baby. Say Beautiful Minds. Say Fighting Around the World.
Beautiful Minds suck.
I'm not saying it didn't suck. It was terrible. I hated that movie. It was god-awful, but he was
Did that win Best Picture?
I don't know if it did. I feel like Jennifer Connelly won Best Actress for that.
Speaking of which, Jennifer Connelly is in this movie as Suit Lady.
She's the voice of Suit Lady. I was so excited.
Can we talk about how great this suit is? Like the scene where he can't figure out how to use his suit. This is so not Spider-Man, him having this crazy suit with all these gadgets, but him not being able to work it. And she's like, would you like to activate instant kill mode? And his eyes turn red and black and he's scary. And he's like, what? No, because we haven't talked about how the best thing about Tom Holland that puts him above every other Spider-Man actor is that he has a great Spider-Man voice.
He does.
He sounds like a tiny baby, but he sounds very earnest. He's good at the quips. Like the line that was in the trailer, "You're not the Avengers." Like that whole scene, he does a really good job at being funny and young and energetic, which Tobey Maguire was terrible at.
Yeah,
and Andrew Garfield was actually okay at, but Tom Holland's even better.
Yeah, I think he does. He has a really good Spider-Man voice, which is so key because you don't see his face for so much of the time, and a lot of the time he's CG. So, yeah, I enjoyed Suit Lady. I enjoyed when he gets locked in the warehouse and she says, would you like a refresher course or whatever it is on, and he's like, okay. And so they go through the whole thing. And then it turns out it only took 7 minutes, which I liked.
No, it was 32 minutes.
32 minutes. Okay. And
he's like, how long have we been in here?
What? And he does very high pitched sort of voice, which is really good. And I like that because they don't spend too much time focused on the fact that he's supposed to be a genius. Like, he's on the academic decathlon team, but we never get to see him really do anything on it because he's off Spider-Manning when he's supposed to be actually competing. So
he does
at the beginning.
What you see him making web fluid.
You see him making web fluid, but for like a second.
And but it's enough. Like, believe me, I'm not going to complain. Like, that was always the thing in the other movies, why they never did that. They were like, it's just too much to spend time on. And this does a good job of doing it quickly, but like setting up. And like, he hacks the door. He like hooks up his TI-83 Plus to the freaking door to like, and he's running trials with a little notebook and a pencil. That's great.
Yeah.
And we've never seen that in any of the other movies, so I'm glad the other movies never touched that because it seems fresh, but it also seems true to the character.
But I really like the idea that he could, if Tony gave him access to know what the other parts of the Training Wheels program were, he could learn most of that shit cold in 32 minutes. And that's how smart he is. And I like that they finally were like, okay, he's 32 minutes to learn all the functions of this suit smart. He's still not capable of really understanding the complexities of it and the magnitude of the responsibility behind the suit, which is really what the Training Wheels aspect of it should be about, is about doling that out more so he learns to like not be like, I can do everything, but like smarts wise, he can tell that suit to do what he needs it to do quickly enough because he's smart enough once he knows those things, that those are the functions it can do. So I appreciated that. But as far as Jennifer Connelly, I love the fact that it's Jennifer Connelly because, of course, she's married to Paul Bettany, who was the voice of Jarvis. So that was a good. That was good. That was a good.
And this is one of those things I was talking about where it's weird to me that this is a thing that Spider-Man does, because Spider-Man doesn't have an AI in his head like Iron Man, but it's done well enough, and his like chemistry with this weird, because you can tell like the Karen is not as good as Karen. Is like a step down from technologically wise from Jarvis.
Right.
Like she even has that weird, when you talk to Siri and there's like weird pauses. Like she almost has some of that going on.
Right.
But still manages to have like a really good charisma, or not charisma, but
there's a chemistry between them.
Yeah. When he's talking about girls to his computer AI in his superhero costume, it's pretty cute.
It's very cute. It's very cute. He's so cute. Should we talk about the action sequences? Which you froze again. God damn it. Ooh. Moment. Let me adjust myself. I'm not comfortable.
Okay, you're back.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
What was I going to say? The action sequences. I saw this in 3D. I thought that the 3D actually took away from the action sequences personally. It made the scene at the end very disorienting when they're in the dark on the plane in the sky. I didn't enjoy that. Did not enjoy that. But I liked the concept behind that action sequence. It just didn't work for me because I thought the 3D was bad. It was very much the opposite of Doctor Strange. Yeah, because Doctor Strange I don't even want to watch again because I feel like watching it without the 3D it'll be pointless because that's so much of what made that movie was the visuals. And in this, I mean, I guess having 3D on the scene in Washington was kind of good, kind of ish, but not really.
I saw it once with and once without. The 3D, it didn't take away from me, but it didn't add much to me either. It just meant, extra $3 on my ticket.
Right. I just didn't have any other options. There were not any other non-3D times available to me.
Yeah. I don't go to 3D because I've got to see this in 3D. I go to whatever showing is most convenient because I have a hectic schedule. So, don't avoid it in 3D is my recommendation. But, if you had a hard time seeing, then, I would play it safe and go with 2D.
But so the fight at the sky fight at the end just didn't, I visually was
I like that idea.
Oh yeah, the idea,
really like
was,
the idea
great. It was great.
That Vulture is going to rob Tony Stark. And I like that Michael Keaton, the Vulture is he's like a Danny Ocean character. He does heists and shit. That's really cool.
Yeah.
He's blue collar Danny Ocean.
With alien weaponry.
What we haven't talked about is the fact that the Shocker is in this movie.
Yeah, you seem very excited about that.
You know that I love the Shocker and his dumb costume. I'm a little bummed that Herman Schultz, original Shocker, is immediately killed, and I wish
it's a good death though. He just gets totally disintegrated accidentally, basically, which is entertaining.
I love that guy getting killed. I don't like that he, I don't like that he's the complete opposite of how Shocker is in the comics. Herman Schultz in the comics is a coward, a hilarious coward.
But I'm going out by myself, man. I don't need you. And he's like, okay, yeah, die. Whoops, I didn't mean die.
I like Toombs' second in command guy though. The guy who becomes the Shocker after that.
Shocker, yeah.
He doesn't do much, but he's good enough.
He's good enough, and he definitely gives Peter trouble. He's not easily pushed around. Peter gets pretty beat up. As you do when somebody can do that with their fist. It's not a good feeling, I can imagine. I keep thinking that was Tom Hardy, except it clearly wasn't, but it hurt my brain. Who is Tom Hardy? Shocker?
The Shocker, the guy who plays him in the first scene.
First scene, okay, yeah.
He reminded me of Shane from Walking Dead, actually. The show. Do you watch Walking Dead?
No, I just thought he was really, I found the actor very bland, so I can't even picture his face. Maybe I'm just face blind. But yeah, no, the idea of the heist was great, and the technology that they used with the being able to go through the little portal that it disintegrates it into I don't know. I mean, there's no actual science behind it. I don't know why I'm trying to make it into sciencey things.
It's like a portal gun sort of thing.
Yeah. He just goes zoom, 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 and can go down into something, and then it closes back up behind him. That's cool. It was well done.
I like the idea. I was listening to another podcast on this movie, and they're like, "Man, they're still cleaning up things from the first movie," but I like that a lot because this is a world that has been exposed to alien technology.
Jesus Christ,
that shit's all just laying around.
Do you realize how long it took them to rebuild the Freedom Tower after 9/11? It took 4 or 5 years of bureaucracy just to figure out what they wanted to put there. I mean, it just anything big and disastrous is going to take forever to deal with. Like, you can't just be like, oh, it's all done, it's all taken care of.
And that's all just like collateral damage.
Right.
This is like all this crazy weaponry shit.
Yeah, it's just
came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
All of these aliens died because that's the stupidest thing from the Avengers movie. Is that they all die after. Seriously, people talk so much shit about Age of Ultron, but to me, there is nothing dumber than that all the aliens immediately just die after the mothership is moved. There is nothing stupider than that. I mean, that's like some Phantom Menace shit.
Well,
but whatever.
But that's
people.
That seems like the sort of thing that's based in tons of myth. Like, you just need to kill like the main vampire, and then all the other vampires turn back into not vampires or zombies or whatever.
Based in tons of plot contrivance is what it's based in.
So are all these movies.
But that's just something that has always bugged me. Right. But you know, all this stuff fell, and you know, people just like hoarded that shit. So even though, you know, New York City is rebuilt, like, you know, I'm sure all sorts of people were just like, I'm gonna put this ray gun in my pocket.
Yeah.
Here, just hold on to this.
Who didn't have access to a ray gun? Look at this. This thing glows. I'm gonna take it home with me. I don't know. It's a bomb that'll blow up the Washington Monument. Who knew? I love that he just walks into the Washington Monument with a fucking bomb in his bag, and they don't even recognize it as a bomb because it's not a bomb until after he's gone through. That's brilliant. You'd still think that they would have metal detectors checking for like space alien-y stuff, like they would have developed
just like that. Or just there's some weird radiation going on here, or maybe just this like gemstone in this kid's pocket is like 150 degrees.
Yeah, something.
Like 200 degrees.
That's as Liz says. You can't tell me Stark didn't have a scanner for that. There's got to be like, yeah. What's the deal with? Yeah. Anyway,
what's the deal with Chitauri technology? It's incredibly dangerous.
Anyway, yeah, no. So the fight at the end when they crash on Coney Island, I love that they crashed on Coney Island. I think that's a delightful way to end a very outer borough-y movie. I like that.
I like the deli owner. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, I like the deli owner. I'm glad he didn't totally eat it. I wish Aunt May had more to do other than get hit on at Thai restaurants
by everyone.
Yeah, well, I mean, understandably,
she's
a very pretty lady. And she did, of course, get the last line in the whole movie, other than the stingers.
That's okay. That bugs me a little bit that Aunt May already knows who's Spider-Man. But hey, there's been 3 series of Spider-Man movies. You're gonna do something different.
Might as well.
I'm sure they'll do something fun with it. She's a lot of fun.
I'm happy with it because I don't necessarily need to see Marissa Tomei stumbling around through a bunch of, speaking of plot contrivances, not ever figuring this out.
I mean, not ever figuring it out would be one thing. I didn't need her to find out in this movie.
I was not expecting it for sure.
No, but it's the perfect way to end that scene, because how many superhero movies end with the superhero putting on their costume again and being ready to
like
face
triumphant
tomorrow.
Yeah.
You mean like the worst thing in Wonder Woman? Okay, not the worst thing in Wonder Woman, but totally how Wonder Woman ends, and it's not very satisfying.
Right.
Them like ending that scene with that so abruptly, and then boom, movie over.
Yeah.
It's really fun in the moment.
It's entertaining. Yeah. And I like that he, of course, rescues the Vulture. Of course he does. And,
yes.
Yeah.
I said in Age of Ultron, there's a scene in Age of Ultron that I really love, which is the city is flying through the sky, and Captain America is like, okay, we're fighting these guys, but we're also going to make sure every single civilian gets off of this before we leave. Mm-hmm. We are not going to escape if one single person is going to die. And I said that was the greatest fuck you Man of Steel moment.
Mm-hmm.
And him saving the Vulture is the greatest fuck you Batman Begins moment.
Yeah.
Because there's this, at the end of Batman Begins, Batman's like, I'm not going to kill anybody, but I also don't have to save you, bad guy. Bye. And then he just lets Liam Neeson die in a train wreck.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man is better than that, and I like that a lot. Thank you.
And he's not just doing it because it's Liz's dad either. He's doing it because it's the right thing to do. It's like,
because he's a kid. And
he's a kid. Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's not going to let a guy die. He's like horrified that he's going to fly off and get hurt. And then he's horrified and like makes himself get up and rescue him. And it's a really great moment when they're lying on the sand there, super exhausted. And then he ties him up and he leaves his cute little notes.
The little note.
I love his notes.
They're good notes.
Found your vulture guy. P.S. Sorry about your plane. Oh, it's so good.
It is. See, this movie is just delightful. It's a delight. There's nothing mean-spirited about it. It's just good fun. Like, it's the sort of movie where I'm like, I can go take my child to see this and I'm not worried about it at all. Like, I think it'll be fun to take Dolly to see it.
Even though Ned says that he's looking at porn, which shocked me.
Yeah, Dolly has been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Bob's Burgers recently. I
really thought you were going to say Dolly has been watching porn.
Lots of porn. Let my 8-year-old watch porn. I'm a real modern mom, teaching her about, just understanding sexuality and appreciating the beauty of the human body. No, I'm not letting her watch porn. She doesn't want to. We watched a Bob's Burgers today where Tina was talking about, she played Spin the Bottle at the end and was going to kiss someone. She's like, I don't like this episode. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable and gross. It's bad. And I said, excuse me, I saw a picture you drew the other day where the story ended with the word smooch, the end. And she's like, that wasn't me in that story. I was like, it wasn't. She's like, no, that was Lily. And the boy was Poop. That's all she could come up with in the moment, was that the boy character was named Poop. And I'm like, so you're telling me you don't want to kiss Poop? And she's like, shut up. We have fun.
Talia is the best.
We have fun. But yeah, and when we watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine and she said to me, she was like, Evan's not going to understand the underlying concepts of this show, but I understand. And I'm like, okay, we don't really need to get into how much you understand, but I can understand that you understand most of the understanding. But a lot of the understanding you don't understand, and I'm okay with that. And she was watching Ghostbusters this morning because she's already seen it and it's on the Stars app, and she got really excited that she could see it again. And I was like, yeah, you can see it. You've already seen it. And then Evan kept coming in to the room and she was like, Evan can't see this. They're saying bad words and they're talking about sex. And I was like, it's fine. He doesn't matter. Really doesn't. And she also came in at one point. She's like, it's the scene where they hire Kevin. I'm like, okay, you go enjoy that.
You mean the best scene in the movie?
Everybody else all the women there are enjoying hiring Kevin. You go watch it and enjoy it yourself too. That's fine. She also told me Kate McKinnon is her favorite character in that movie, and Leslie Jones is her second favorite character, and so she has good taste, and I'm proud of her.
Yeah, Kate McKinnon is objectively the best Ghostbuster.
Yeah, just the best.
She's the best one.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bill Murray. You tried to date rape Sigourney Weaver. I'll never forgive you, you fucker.
Well, it went awry in many ways. Bill Murray is not a good person in those movies. Like, he's a terrible person.
Those guys are all terrible people.
What's terrible about Egon? He's just kind of an asshole, but he's not a terrible person.
He's enabling them. He's building these guys weapons.
That's true. He is building them weapons and
being very irresponsible. Yeah. I like Ernie Hudson, actually.
Everybody likes Ernie Hudson.
Apparently, the people who made that movie don't, because he's not even fucking in it.
No, but I mean, like, normal human beings watching the movie. Who doesn't like Winston? He's the best.
Yeah, he's my second favorite because he just shows up halfway through the movie. He's like, "Hey, I saw this one ad. Can I be in this movie?" While he smokes a cigarette and is blue collar as fuck. I think the takeaway from this episode is I like just characters who are blue collar above all else.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's the Oklahoma in you.
Yeah. Oh, fuck you.
Love it. Anyway, but yeah, is there anything else that I wanted to talk about in this movie? I'm depressed that the box office tanked, apparently. this weekend.
What?
Yeah.
It didn't do well?
Did not do well.
Fuck, you froze again. God damn it.
I froze this time? Oh, there you go. Now you're frozen.
Okay, you're back.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
God, so the movie didn't do well?
No, it went down like 73% from last week.
Jesus, that sucks.
Yeah, that really sucks. I don't know even what else came out this week.
Planet of the Apes.
Oh, maybe that's it. I hear that's really good. I don't really
I do too, but that still
want to
sucks.
see it. It does still suck.
I don't want to hear regressive assholes on the internet say that it's because there are black people in it.
I don't want to talk about it.
So,
I just don't even want to talk about it. I'm just tired of people.
Yeah, I'm tired of the internet.
Uh-huh.
I should probably just unfollow and block a lot of things and only see you, Natasha, and Chip Zdarsky on the internet.
I think that, well, but then I'm just going to post things that'll make you mad because I'll be looking at other things on the internet and it'll make me mad.
Yeah, because Natasha never posts upsetting things about terrible things that
Okay,
people do on the
fair. Yeah,
internet.
you're not going to be able to escape it living in the same house as Natasha, so you might as well just give up.
But I like this movie a lot. I think I like it better than Ant-Man, which, you know, I fucking love me some Ant-Man.
I also love me some Ant-Man, but I gotta say, again, we come back to Vulture versus Yellow Jacket, and it's no contest. So, but the disintegration scene, Owen, you know how much I love that scene. I'm so mad that nobody told me that there was a scene with Ant-Man in somebody's purse with disintegration playing on the iPad as he flails around crazily. And I didn't watch that movie for like 2 years, and I would have watched it in the theater if somebody had told me that that scene was in the movie. I was so mad. I was like, this is brilliant. Who came up with this? This is so random and brilliant and made exactly for me.
Ant-Man is really good, but the things that I liked in Ant-Man were like just the little surprises of lighthearted fun.
Yeah.
And for this movie, that's like the whole movie.
Yeah, that's true.
And there's no, disappointing bullshit about the obvious female hero character being held back. Mm-hmm. Or, the frustrating things in Ant-Man are not present in Spider-Man for me.
Yeah.
And
there aren't really a lot of there are things in this movie that aren't necessarily the super most great, but there aren't any bad things. Are there bad things in this movie?
The Spider-Man suit, and I've got a friend who harps on this constantly. The Spider-Man suit looks really CGI to me in a lot of places.
There were certain places where that's true. Yeah, I agree with that.
To the point where I'm like, that looks just like they're not even trying to hide that it's CGI.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's a bummer. But other than that, I don't have many problems with this movie. So, yeah.
I give it 2 heartfelt thumbs up.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. And I can't wait for them to make more and for Tom Holland to be in Infinity War, even though I'm not exactly looking forward to that movie.
Well, I am enjoying the jokes about Thanos pooping that are currently happening on the thread and the unspoiled page about that.
This is happening. Picture. Yeah, this is happening as a bunch of promotional material is starting to come out, and Thanos is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and they haven't set him up well, in my opinion. They've set up the gems okay, but they haven't set up the character at all. He's a joke.
No, it's
when he does show up.
Yeah,
and he doesn't look good.
All we know about
CGI
him,
looking characters.
Bad CGI, and the only thing we know really anything about him from is from Gamora and Karen Gillan, who I'm suddenly spacing on her name, Nebula. And just the two of them being like, our dad was mean to us, meaner to me than to you, and I'm like, okay, sure, that's all I know about them.
And he's. My problem is in Guardians. That's the only time you really see him, and he's he's yelling at the bad guy, who's the worst bad guy in the history of Marvel movies. Yeah. He's just like, you better stop it or I'll show you, and then he does nothing because he's a fucking wimp.
So Liz is saying we have 3 more movies to set him up before then. So what do we think is going to happen in Black Panther, Ragnarok, and what's the other one?
Black Panther, I don't think they'll touch it unless they do a stinger. Ragnarok could maybe touch on that. I'm really looking forward to Ragnarok, but not for Thanos shit. Like, I'm surprisingly,
I'm shockingly excited for Ragnarok because I do not like. Good. I know I do not like the Thor movies, and I am so excited for Ragnarok. It's got Jeff Goldblum in it. I'm so excited.
It takes the best thing from the Thor. Well, okay, it takes the second best thing from the Thor movies, which is Thor, the character, like the dude, the affable meathead. The best thing is Kat Dennings.
Yeah, and
maybe she'll show up.
So Kat Dennings, and then Kat Dennings' boobs, and then Thor.
no, I'm sorry. I don't want to be that gross objectifying guy, but I'm gonna be that. It's Kat Dennings' boobs, then Kat Dennings, then Thor. Okay, it takes the third best thing from the Thor movies and goes. He doesn't need to be doing that Thor shit. He can be doing other stuff. He can be doing some Guardians of the Galaxy shit over here.
And it brings in another potentially interesting villain. And it also does. I have not read Planet Hulk, but I guess this is going to get a couple of the things that might be good about Planet Hulk.
It brings in the idea that Hulk is in space. And Hulk wears a cool gladiator hat, which are probably the two coolest things about Planet Hulk. So we're good. And Jeff Goldblum.
Which that's a ticket seller for me. I'm very pro Jeff Goldblum.
And I hope Benicio del Toro comes back as the Collector, because I liked him a lot in Guardians because he's so goofy fashion designer, very dramatic.
Yeah, it's about time to see him again. So it seems like that would be a good place to have him.
Black Panther, the trailers look cool, but I don't know anything about what the plot is going to be.
I don't either, but the trailer does look really good, and the cast looks great, and I'm more excited for it than I anticipated being. So, Cate Blanchett does look amazing in that trailer. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about that movie. And then, okay, so what else is coming out before Infinity War?
I don't know what this third movie is that is going to be MCU before Infinity War.
I think that might be it.
Unless it's Ant-Man and the Wasp,
which
I'm looking forward to.
That's after.
Is it Captain Marvel?
Nope, that's after. We can't have another movie about a woman before. Come on. What are you thinking?
Yeah. And it's like my least favorite.
And you hate Captain Marvel. So.
Yeah. I'm reading some She-Hulk comics right now, and I'm just so mad that there isn't a She-Hulk Netflix series.
Yeah.
Because you could do so much great shit with that. Like, put what's his name who plays Bruce Banner in like the first episode, and then shoo him away, and then she can just do goofy superhero lawyer shit.
Okay, tell me what She-Hulk stuff to read, and I'll read some She-Hulk because
Charles Seal Javier Polito. It's from the Marvel Now era, 2014. You don't have to know anything else about. The only thing you need to know is at one point Captain America. His super serum wore out, and so he's like 90 years old.
Yeah, no, I know he's old.
That's it. And you have to know that there's a person named Hellcat who's a superhero lady, just like a cat.
But I know who Hellcat is.
Read it. So. It's really good. She-Hulk's the best. Not that there's much competition, but she's the best female Marvel character and one of the best Marvel characters, period. Even though she hasn't always been treated well. She's great.
Okay. I should go to bed. It's late. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're not talking about Spider-Man anymore. Especially Spider-Man Homecoming.
You should go see it. It's really
good. Non-white people can be in superhero movies. It's fine.
What?
Internet.
No.
Yeah.
Unacceptable.
It's not the end of the world.
Yay! Well, that's a good takeaway message. It is a good.
I don't know when we will be back, but we will at some point because gotta talk about them comic books. And this was fun.
Thanks, Liz, for coming back, even though YouTube was mean to you.
Yeah, I don't know what is up with that.
Yeah, stupid YouTube. Okay, so we'll talk again when we talk again, and I hope people enjoyed listening to this because it's been a while.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.